Alright, get ready, because this isn't just about football, this is about respect, or better said, the lack of it.
Why was Vinicius Jr. so upset that Jose Mourinho had to hold him back? It was after he scored this great goal in the Champions League against Benfica to take the lead 1-0. But after his celebration, him and Prestiani of Benfica got into an argument. And that's when Prestiani covered his mouth and said something. And that is what made Vinicius Jr. react like this. So the official stops the entire game so that they can enter a potential racism protocol, but that does not stop everything from kicking off on the sideline. They're screaming, they're shoving. Kylian Mbappe is getting into it with Nicolas Otamendi. Jose Mourinho is basically holding Vinicius Jr. back. And after 10 minutes of this chaos going on, nothing happened, literally nothing. But Mbappe had his teammates back screaming at Prestiani, calling him a racist, and Vinicius Jr. had the only goal in the game. So share this video if you think that's football justice.
Nobody respects Vini Jr.
Y después hay el número 25 de Benfica, no quiero decir su nombre, no lo merece, que empezó a hablar mal. También no se acepta, pero ha pasado en el fútbol y pasará. Pero después ha metido su camiseta aquí para decir que Vini es un mono 5 veces. Yo lo escucho. Hay jugadores que lo han escuchado de Benfica también.
Vinicius Jr. is the nightmare of racists. You might like him, you might hate him, he might annoy you, he might celebrate too much for your taste. But two things are undeniable: his extraordinary talent. And the fact that he has become a magnet that exposes the intolerance and hatred that still exists in stadiums around the world. Football is the biggest sport on the planet, and for many, it's a mirror of society. And like any mirror, it reflects not only beauty, but also ugliness. It reflects injustice, inequality, and discrimination. The fight for equality and dignity should be at the core of football's values, yet time and time again we see the game struggling to defend those principles. Over the years, many players have denounced racist abuse. But very few have been placed at the centre of it like Vinicius Jr.
Eu tenho que me concentrar muito, todos os dias.
And once again it happened, this time in Lisbon, against Benfica. What should have been remembered as a big European night was overshadowed by chaos. After scoring in the 50th minute with a stunning curling finish into the far top corner, Vinicius celebrated with his trademark dance near the corner flag. Pure joy, pure football, but moments later he was shown a yellow card and tension began to rise. Words were exchanged between players, tempers flared, and suddenly the match was stopped for nearly 10 minutes. Referee François Letexier activated FIFA's anti-racism protocol after Vinicius approached him to report what he had heard. The Brazilian forward then briefly walked off the pitch and sat on the bench, visibly shaken and unsure about continuing. Real Madrid coach Álvaro Arbeloa later confirmed that an allegation had been made against Benfica winger Gianluca Prestiani, while Jose Mourinho stated that the player denied the accusation. The goal itself had been world-class. Vinicius received the ball from Mbappe, backed Amar Dedic into the box, wrong-footed him, and curled a sensational strike into the far corner. Elite composure, elite quality, and then he danced. Nicolas Otamendi and several Benfica players clearly didn't like it. Prestiani continued exchanging words with him as players returned to their halves. Then Vinicius heard something that crossed the line. He sprinted to the referee. The anti-racism gesture was made. Chaos followed. Mbappe got into an argument with a Benfica staff member who was sent off. Arbeloa entered the pitch. Mourinho even put his arm around Vinicius on the sideline as the Brazilian explained what he believed had been said. For 2 long minutes, Vinicius sat on the bench, reflecting, deciding whether to keep playing. Eventually he returned to the pitch and the match resumed. And from that moment on, he was booed relentlessly by the Benfica crowd. That's the pattern. He scores, he dances, he speaks up, he refuses to stay silent, and suddenly he becomes the villain. Nobody respects Vini Jr. Not when he humiliates defenders. Not when he wins Champions League matches.
Valverde then drives it in!
Not when he stands up against racism, and maybe that is the real problem. The football world reacted immediately.
The 2-0, as you can imagine. I don't know if you had a chance to cross paths with Vini, how he feels.
Oh, I think Vini's, he's had incidents like this before. He's been subjected to this numerous times throughout his career, so not that he's used to it, but, he's experienced this before. I think it's an emotional game. He's gone through something very disappointing tonight, disgraceful to the sport. But
the incident didn't just raise tension on the pitch, it exploded everywhere. In the stands, in the tunnel, across social media, on every major broadcast. Madrid fans were furious. The atmosphere after the final whistle was heated, with reports of pushing and shouting near the dressing rooms. This wasn't just another controversial moment, it felt bigger. One of the strongest reactions came from Thierry Henry on CBS Sports Golazo. The French legend spoke calmly but firmly, saying he understood exactly what Vinicius was going through and pointing out how incredibly difficult it is to prove these kinds of incidents. Henry made it clear, when a player reacts like that, it's not random. There is pain behind it.
I want to see the big guys that always talk and do stuff and whatnot and take pictures and whatnot. Listen, I'm going to say something that's pretty strong here. Like, I don't like Real Madrid. But I'm a Madridista tonight. There's nothing, you don't want to see that. I don't care what shirt of Vinicius Jr. is wearing. I don't want to see that, and I heard some people saying it's always happening with him. Who cares? It's the issue here. Why are you trying to move the subject or the situation? Let's go back to the point. What has been said? It's been said that Vinicius Jr. is a monkey. What are we talking about once again? What shall we do? And on top of that, he can't celebrate? Where are we here? What are we talking about?
Rio Ferdinand also stepped up. The Manchester United legend didn't hesitate. He said these acts cannot be tolerated and called the perpetrators racist rats who must be punished. Strong words, necessary words.
I don't know, man. I just look at him and think, how can we have players celebrating and people going, oh, no, they shouldn't do that, and it's okay to be abused because of the celebration? Where are we right now? And you know what? When these little rats, right, say this racist stuff, yes, they should be called out. Yes, they should be told. Yes, they should be punished. They shouldn't be getting no protection. Why are we protecting them? Especially when Kylian Mbappe, a teammate of Vinicius, is coming out and saying, I heard it. So what are we to believe now then? What are we to do? Go, oh, he's covered his mouth. Why are you covering your mouth? Normally you cover your mouth when you've got something to hide. If you're going to say, do you know what, Vinny, stop being an idiot, you ain't covering your mouth. When you've got something to say that's nasty, that's disgusting, you're covering your mouth, something to hide. And the fact that
Micah Richards, former Manchester City defender and now one of the most respected pundits in England, went even further. He called Gianluca Prestiani a coward for covering his mouth with his shirt while allegedly insulting Vinicius. If you have something to say it openly. That was the message. Hiding only makes it worse.
That's a difficult part. So you come on, you're laughing and joking, it's big meets and we're having fun or whatnot, you be a footballer and yeah, he's entertaining, but can you help a man when he's down or when he feels down, or is Vini Jr. tonight going through that? Can you lift him up when it feels like he's got no one there with him? And that's why Kylian come out so strong and all his teammates. And the whole thing about this, he's been guilty of celebrating. Just put that into context of what that means. He's dancing, he's Brazilian, he's having fun, he's expressing himself in ways where he enjoys football. And he gets a yellow card for that, and then he goes and gets racially abused. And that's the sad thing about the whole thing today. It's just, it's sad to talk about.
The support from former players, analysts and football figures was loud and clear. Many stood behind Vinicius, many defended him, but not everyone. Because while some see him as a victim standing up against racism, others see him as something else. Some say Vinicius provokes, and that's where the debate gets even more uncomfortable.
L'unica cosa che dico io è che passa en tantos estadios, sempre con lo mismo, hay qualcosa que no, hay alguna cosa que no va. Yo a Vinicius en el campo yo le he dicho, tú marcas un gol de otro mundo. ¿Por qué celebras así? ¿Por qué? Por que não celebras como celebrava Di Stefano, Pelé, Eusébio? Por que não celebras gol solo com a alegria de seres jogador de outro mundo? Passa sempre com o mesmo.
Vinicius Jr. didn't stay silent. He spoke clearly, directly, without fear. Racists are, above all, cowards. They need to cover their mouths with their shirts to show their weakness. But alongside them, they have the protection of others who, in theory, are supposed to punish them. Nothing that happened today is new in my life, or in my family's life. That was his message. Powerful, painful, honest. He also questioned the yellow card he received for celebrating his goal and criticised how the referee handled the situation. They gave me a yellow card for celebrating a goal. I still don't understand why. The protocol was poorly executed and served no purpose. I don't like being in these situations, especially after a great victory when the headlines should be about Real Madrid, but it's necessary. So let's ask the uncomfortable question. Is he not allowed to dance? When Ronaldinho danced, it was joy. When James Rodriguez or Neymar celebrated passionately, it was charisma. When Cristiano Ronaldo showed his number to the crowd, it was mentality. When Lionel Messi held up his shirt at the Bernabeu, it was iconic. History celebrated those moments. So why is it different when Vinicius does it?
The question always comes to the black guy. You already know I'm tired. You already know. I've been there. Told you I can relate. I feel so sorry for the guy. Because yes, when you do talk sometimes it feels like that you're crying.
Imagine you have to plead to be equal or feel equal in society. How inhumane that feels. It's just, it's madness how we have to...
Like, we belong, right?
Well...
Why is it suddenly provocation? With all due respect to Jose Mourinho and anyone else who thinks it crosses a line, that celebration, that expression, is what every kid dreams of. Scoring, celebrating, feeling alive. And then comes the other side, the denial. Gianluca Prestiani rejected all accusations and claimed he had received threats after the incident. He stated, "I want to clarify that at no moment did I direct racist insults toward Vinicius Jr., who unfortunately misunderstood what he believes he heard. I have never been racist toward anyone, and I regret the threats I received from Real Madrid players."
I can relate. And I can assure you, when that happens, you don't know what to do anymore. So he tried to walk out one time in Spain, if I remember well, away. Then another time, you know, he tried to kick someone back because he had enough. Now he went to see the referee to tell him what happened. I've been there. The referee also told me I can't do anything about it. As you can see, they couldn't do anything about it. They go and see people to try to see what they can do about it. As because they don't know what happened and what's been said, they cannot take action. But let's see how big of a man Prestiani is. Tell us what you said. You must have said something, because you can't go and say to Mbappe after, I didn't say anything. What do you mean I didn't say anything? So you cover your nose for what? You have a cold?
That's where it stands. Allegation, denial, chaos. But here's the reality. This isn't the first time Vinicius has been in this position, and that's what makes it heavier. That's what makes it harder to dismiss. Because when something keeps happening to the same player, season after season, stadium after stadium, at some point you stop asking if it's coincidence. October 24th, 2021. Camp Nou, Barcelona versus Real Madrid. Vini gets subbed off in the 87th minute. As he walks to the bench, a fan shouts mono at him. La Liga files a complaint. The case gets closed because police couldn't identify the person. First incident, no real punishment.
Diciendo, olvida la afición, solo al partido.
March 14th, 2022. Mallorca versus Real Madrid. Monkey noises from the stands. Someone shouts, "Go pick bananas." Complaint filed. The answer? The sounds were vulgar and unpleasant, but not a criminal offence. Basically, disgusting, but not punishable.
Esto, que es lamentable, nos lleva a otra...
September 16th, 2022. Spanish TV show El Chiringuito. A pundit says if Vini wants to dance samba, he should go back to Brazil and stop acting like a monkey. Brazil explodes. Vini responds online. Racist language disguised as opinion. September 18th, 2022. Atletico versus Real Madrid. Before the match, fans chant, "Vinicius, you are a monkey." Prosecutors decide not to press charges. It only lasted a few seconds. As if time makes racism smaller. December 30, 2022. Valladolid versus Real Madrid. Direct insults while he walks off. Black black piece of shh. This time there are sanctions. 10 fans banned for 3.5 years. Vini gives testimony in court. January 26, 2023, before a Copa del Rey match. A dummy wearing Vini's shirt is hung from a bridge near Real Madrid's training ground, a banner next to it. A judge calls it a clear act of racist humiliation. 4 arrests, prosecutors ask for prison sentences. February 5th, 2023, Mallorca again. A mic catches someone shouting, "Mono." The person is identified and banned for 3 years. Turns out he also racially abused Samuel Chukwueze. Same pattern.
Tenía un duelo muy correoso con Palo Mafeo. Lo estamos viendo en imágenes con el sello Dazón.
February 18th, 2023. Osasuna versus Real Madrid. At least the F-word black guy didn't score against us. Complaint filed, case closed. Author not identified. March 5th, 2023. Betis versus Real Madrid. Racist chants again. Police identify someone. Vini testifies months later. March 19th, 2023. El Clásico at Camp Nou. Mono. Vinicius die. Official complaint. Almost a year later, no update. May 21st, 2023. Valencia versus Real Madrid. Mestalla, the one the whole world saw. Constant monkey chants, gestures. The referee activates the anti-racism protocol. Vini later gets sent off after a scuffle, but it's revealed VAR didn't show the full footage where he was grabbed first. Valencia get a partial stadium closure and a fine. 3 arrests. Vini posts, "It wasn't the first time, not the second, not the third. Racism is normal in La Liga." La Liga president Javier Tebas responds by criticizing Vini instead of the racists, says Spain and La Liga are not racist. Vini replies, "Instead of criticizing the racists, the president attacks me. I'm waiting for actions and punishments. A hashtag changes nothing."
Vamos a ver, aquí hay unas cuestiones. Yo siempre digo a todo mi equipo que cuando la gente o una parte muy importante entiende el mensaje de una forma, pues tienen razón. Por lo tanto, tengo que arrepentirme porque yo creo que el mensaje y la intención que yo puse, una parte importante, sobre todo en Brasil, no la ha entendido, porque yo no pretendo atacar a Vinicius. Pero si así lo ha entendido mucha gente en Brasil, pues tengo que pedir excusas, porque...
October 21st, 2023. Sevilla versus Real Madrid. Cameras catch a fan making monkey gestures. Sevilla act quickly and remove the fan. Vini thanks them but points out another video showing a young girl making the same gesture. This is episode number 19 and we keep counting. March 2nd, 2024. Back at Mestalla, booed every time he touches the ball. He scores twice, celebrates with his fist raised, puts his ear to the crowd. March 13th, 2024. Atletico fans filmed chanting chimpanzee before a Champions League match. March 16th, 2024. Osasuna versus Real Madrid. Madrid complained that the referee ignored chants of Vinicius die in his match report. The federation backs the referee. March 25th, 2024. Press conference with Brazil before a friendly against Spain organised to fight racism. Vini breaks down in tears. Says he's losing the desire to play because of the abuse.
Eu tenho que me concentrar muito todos os dias. Que eu só queria jogar futebol, só quero fazer de tudo pelo meu clube e pela minha família.
This isn't a victim story being exaggerated. It's documented, year after year, stadium after stadium. And after all that, some people still say he's overreacting. Yes, Vinicius Jr. has received a lot of hate. And let's be honest, sometimes he feeds off it. He seems to vibrate with the noise. He likes the boos, he enjoys the chaos, and he doesn't run from controversy. He leans into it. He embraces the villain role. He can be irritating, he can be provocative, like when he pointed at the Real Madrid badge in front of Rodrigo de Paul in the 2023-24 season. Or when he wasted time in front of Joshua Kimmich against Bayern in that same campaign. He knows how to wind people up. He knows exactly what he's doing. But here's the line. Being provocative does not justify racism. Being confident does not justify abuse. Being emotional does not justify hate. No one, absolutely, no one deserves to be attacked the way he has been.
Então, espero que a Espanha possa evoluir e entender o quão grave é você insultar uma pessoa pela cor da sua pele, porque se até 2030 as coisas não evoluírem, acredito que tenha que mudar de lugar.
And while people focus on his attitude, they forget who we're actually talking about. We're talking about a player who has already changed Real Madrid's modern history. 15 titles with Real Madrid, 3 La Liga title. A Club World Cup. And the Best FIFA Award in 2024. He always shows up in finals, always. In 2022, he scored in the Champions League final. In 2022, he delivered a goal and assist in the Club World Cup.
It's Vinicius for Real Madrid!
In 2022, he assisted in the UEFA Super Cup. In 2023, he assisted in the Copa del Rey. In 2024, he scored a hat-trick in the Spanish Super Cup final. In 2024, he scored again in the Champions League. In 2024, he assisted in the UEFA Super Cup. In 2024, he produced a goal and assist in the Intercontinental Cup. When the lights are brightest, he delivers. Magical knockout nights against Manchester City. Huge performances against Bayern. A hat-trick against Barcelona in a final. Unforgettable clásicos, moments that define eras. On top of all that, Vini Jr. is now the Brazilian with the most goals in Real Madrid history, 117 goals and 97 assists in 357 matches. Proper numbers that. You can love him, you can hate him, but you cannot ignore him. Yes, he is difficult. Yes, he is emotional. Yes, he pushes boundaries. But his talent is undeniable, his impact is historic, and his football can be pure genius. So maybe it's true nobody respects Vinicius Jr. Many hate him, many boo him, many want him to fail. But as we said at the beginning, you can question his personality. You cannot question his greatness.